Mm,
I feel like we need to start with like some yoga.
it's fine. I'll do the honors today.
All right.
Should we start?
Let's do it. Oh, I was on mute. Let's do it.
All right. I guess everyone knows the drill. It's a Wednesday. Yeah, everyone's here has been a while for here, but they know the drill. Okay, we'll get started with. Let's jumble up. Tushar.
Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. So I was working on, there were some changes on the ideation flow. Uh, we had gone through them yesterday, so I was working on them. I made those changes and I will be creating a PR for that. Also, took up the chat agent thing. So was setting that up on my local and reviewing, like have set that up on my local. I was reviewing the on the lines of code that are there. Yeah, those are pretty huge. So taking a bit time to set that up and trying to figure out what the error is. So yeah, working on that currently. And also the concept testing. So I pretty much in the front-end part, just like want to integrate it with the backend and extend.
Were you able to get it working?
Uh, Concept testing.
No, the chat feature.
Yeah, I have set it up on my machine. I can see the front end, but when I try to chat with it, it's not working. So I'm trying to figure out how we integrated it. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Probably some environment variables somewhere that are not saved or something.
Oh, yeah, that might be. I didn't check the. Yeah, okay. I'll check that. I
Okay. Okay. Nice work, Tushar.
think.
Thanks, Tushar. Moving on, Pablo.
Um, Sorry. Eh, Getting a meeting ready for Gartner on Thursday. So that's coming up. Created a strategy plan. I'll share that with you, Avi, and I'll share that with you, Eric, as well. Just kind of like as a template. Eric and I have been spending some time over the last 24 hours, and we're going to continue to do that so that he continues to shadow me while he continues to, be on the hunt in the pursuit of generating new opportunities and in the pursuit of closing them ASAP. And learning from this. It's something that I really admire about Eric. He has the right stuff and understands that, it's about getting things at bat. It's about learning from those at bats, iterating and moving forward. So I think we've gone a long way and we're only going to get further. um, eh, Also, have a meeting with Angeles Ventures later on today. This is like my regular one-on-one Avi that I have with Francisco, who's our biggest champion. So, yeah. But
Do
we are going actually quickly entering due diligence with them, which is good.
do we owe them anything, or do we owe any of their? They had a contact that like emailed us, right? They had another co-investor that they introduced us to.
That's correct. Yeah. I'm not sure if you responded or not. Yeah.
What do we owe them?
I um I don't know. I have to look. They addressed you. They wanted to. Yeah, I don't know. I have to go back.
Okay, let's do that before that meeting. I want to make sure that we look responsive.
Well, this meeting is a one-on-one, like a personal one that I've had with him for like over a year and a half with just Francisco, not necessarily the team. So I'm not
No, I
entirely sure
know,
how to
but
navigate that.
I just want to make sure you look good for that meeting. I just want to make sure.
Okay, sure. Awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. Um, then there's also a meeting with Simon. Um, so I have to allocate some time to prepare for that. Um, that's I have to create a PRD. Um, so I have to jump and kind of
Well, so
prepare for that meeting.
I think so. What the direction I gave him is I just Simon, for everyone's context. I think Mahdi, you're in that meeting also, is someone who wants to help us develop our like chat agent, our like last mile, where we like interpret the results. So I think Mahdi and Sabota, I'd like you to interview that guy. I gave him the not the PRD, but like the tickets from the work that we asked Ombuds to do, like how do you interpret the results. As a place to start, I put that ticket in the meeting notes. Pablo, that might be a good place to start to minimize your work.
Oh, on the meeting notes. Okay. Okay. I'll look. I'll look at that. I have some Miro stuff that I can share too. I
Nice,
just want to make sure that it's of value.
nice.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And then, um, that's pretty much it. The goal is to add a whole bunch of more demos, um, to the docket, for both for myself and for Eric. So we're going to be hunting, 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 hunting a lot, which is good, which is what we should be doing. Um, sorry, that's it.
Pablo, Hardy.
Hello everyone, happy Wednesday. So I'm almost done with refactoring Huistrip. I need to review validation results, second sub-step in Who. Yeah, like basically having smaller components to have single responsibility, like pure components.
Are we making sure that for each of those like single components we have unit tests for those smaller components?
Right now, no, but we can have it. What I did till now, I didn't write to unit test.
What's the advantage of having multiple smaller components versus one larger component?
It reduces bugs. Yeah, and the single responsibility is like one component doesn't care about what other component does. What all is this component cares about rendering and updating its own JSX. So it's for reducing bugs and maintainability. If we add more updates or feature in the code, it will be easy to add. If we have not single responsibility, multiple uh, things in one component, it makes very hard to add a new feature.
Okay, got it. So it's almost like microservices for the front end, horizontally scalable, stateless, defined interfaces, but
Yep.
for front end. Okay, okay, yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. Can you take a look, Hadi, at some of the like lingering little bugs in the front end? I think some of them may be assigned to you, but I think the cause of some of those bugs might be back end services not working appropriately, like create new persona traits or create new object of study um, attributes.
Yeah, I can have a look. Object of study, where is that bug? I don't know about that, but the new traits and new custom attributes, I think.
Yeah.
Those I haven't.
Okay. Who's okay? Great.
Anything else, Hardy?
No, that's it.
Thanks. Eric.
Yes. Hey, everyone. Had a good meeting yesterday with Sabod and Avi and Pablo. And it's a good thing because we're making a lot of mistakes, and that means we're growing. That means we're moving forward. I'm very philosophical about that. Um, and so it was a really helpful meeting. We're up against a little bit of a challenge in regards to efficacy out there of our clients. We say our product does all these great things, and so we need to prove it. And so there's a two-step process that we've come up with, which we didn't know before we needed. And so that's being implemented. I've written a few marketing taglines and some new pitches, which I want to run by, maybe Mia and Avi and Pablo and say, what do you think of this? So that was great. It really got me going as far as creativity. JetBlue, the president of JetBlue, which I've never really gotten invited to a president of a pretty big company. He responded. And he's busy, but his response was very sincere. He said, look, we do AI insourcing, which, okay. So he doesn't get what we do. And he asked me to send him a pitch deck, and he will read it, which I think he is sincere. He gave me his personal email. And so, it gives us an opportunity to go in there and write give him enough information. But what I'm finding is, and I have a few other clients right now, Saudi Arabia Airlines is responded, and we're setting up an appointment with them. Universal NBC responded to me last night. They are interested in talking to me. Everyone is very busy, so their time is very limited.
What roles are most receptive to your outreach?
Right. So chief marketing officers and the data and insights, data scientists, insights of data science for specific businesses within a division of a company, or heads of data science for the business. So chief marketing officer and the heads of data science.
Got it.
Really, chief marketing, yeah, and yeah. So I'm still unsure who exactly is going to run with this, and I think that's all I have for right now. And I don't want to give a list of all the clients I'm out there pitching and doing, and there's a lot. And so what Pablo said, we planted a lot of seeds, and there's going to be some harvest coming in. And with this new sort of approach, I think we're going to get a little bit more response. But it is very busy out there, and their attention span is limited. So I'm trying to break through the noise. And it's very interesting, just on a personal note, everything I've ever done has been intuitive. I've never really written things down or quantified it. So here I am talking to Avi, and he's like, well, can you give me 3 or 4 examples? And I'm like, it comes from my gut. Oh, it's teaching me to sort of, identify and quantify, things that I do, which again is brand new for me. But I enjoy the challenge. That's it. Oh, and I'm grateful for my family.
Thanks, Seth. Who's next? Satvik.
Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. So, I'll start with what's already done. On Monday, I mentioned that I need to do an update in the calculations file, so the recommendation calculations are updated and match what we already have on the website in the void camp. So that is done. I will push it in a few minutes. The other thing, in the past 2 days, I don't know if it was earlier and I didn't notice it, I had a small problem with real life products. So the thing is the following. They had features that didn't match what we had in the survey, not like feature levels, but like features, like completely random features. On my end, so the calculations will break, I have an additional check. If I see that the titles of the features don't match, I'll just consider that I don't have like real life products at all. So just the calculations will carry on.
How can that even happen?
From my end, I can say that the topic was spot on. The features, like if it was a car, it was car features, but the titles of these features are not what we have in the survey. So I can't like make a match there.
How is that even possible to happen?
I don't know.
Can you send me the examples of that happening so I can look through it?
Yeah, sure.
But most likely, I think perplexity error, most likely.
Yeah, but if we run the experiment, like those attributes should flow all the way through, unless we have two different experiment flows.
No, it's in the process of the real world products. It's like in the way we generate the real world products. Like we have to map it at some point, which in this like mapping, the LLM does the mapping and it might format it incorrectly and accidentally change the name of the attributes. But I've
Yeah.
never seen it happen before, so if I can see how it looks like, I can try and debug it.
Nice. Yeah, that would be helpful, because I noticed that also. When I was running some experiments, I noticed that the real world products in the market simulator was not like 3 or 4 real world products. It was like a copy of like one product 2 or 3 times. I don't know. To investigate later.
I mean, that's a valid combination. I'm guessing in this question, the question must have been with a focus on a single brand. So in that case, there is no different brand. All you have is the different products from the same brand.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, then you'll probably see, like same brand, but just different product with some different changes in the attributes here and there. Anything else, Tatu?
No, that's it.
Thank you. Who's next? Mia.
Hi everybody. It's kind of the same as it has been, just like content creating, and now we're figuring out new ways to like interact with people instead of just posting content. We started that initiative, so kind of waiting to see what that results in, and just creating content. That's about it. Simple.
Good luck on your finals.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. The struggle's so real. But almost done to summer.
Tatilik, when you were working on when we were working on the chat agent, we were trying to find a way, I believe, where all of the analytics that are surfaced in the market simulator are stored in some kind of file, either a markdown file or a PDF, I forget what it was, then to be sent over to the chat agent for processing. Do you remember that pipeline? Do you remember working on that pipeline? No? Do we have all of the texts and all of the reports in the market simulator available in an artifact somewhere?
All the text, all the data that is in the market simulator is in a JSON file on weights and biases.
Okay, excellent. And that's the JSON file that's used in the chat agent. Got it. Okay, great. Great.
But there is a step involved, Avi. So directly putting the JSON does not work. So it literally takes and writes into English sentences. So maybe we actually start writing it that week at the time of the pushing the JSON itself and push those PDFs if possible. If it is possible to do.
I get the PDFs as soon as the dashboard is loaded. That's my issue.
It doesn't have to be a PDF. It's probably best that it's not, actually. We just need the content.
I can't with the void camp code, but I can have like a separate R code that will just do the report.
Even that will help.
Okay, so I will just look into that just to make sure that it's possible.
Yeah. Thanks. Who's next? Florian.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. So what I've been working on is testing this something called Microsoft Trace, which, essentially what it does is it's a way for us to tweak the hyperparameters of our experiment design. Specifically, what I'm using it for is to tweak the prompts and try and get it to, try and get them in a way to maximize the Manhattan distance, basically.
Do you mean Microsoft Trace or Weights and Biases Trace?
Microsoft Trace.
Why don't you use Weights and Biases Traces?
Oh, I did not know they had Trace. I was going off the one ticket that you assigned me to.
Oh, if I said Microsoft Trace, I said the wrong thing.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It hyperparameter optimization based on something like Manhattan distance by adjusting the prompts and the experiment design is what Weights and Biases is designed for.
Okay. That would actually make it a lot easier. We already have it as well.
Right. And so the idea is like when you do the Weights and Biases init and you do the experiment initialization with that big JSON, you tweak parameters in that init JSON and then you optimize for one of the output variables. So in this case, the Manhattan distance. And then you create some sort of loop. The problem you're going to have with Weights and Biases traces is that in our setup, we have like by default one run per experiment. And to get traces to work like easily out of the box, we need to have like hundreds of runs per experiment. And so like the way Weights and Biases should work is each experiment that we're trying to replicate, like each of our human baselines, if we have 350 human baselines, we have 350 experiments, and then each one has many runs in it. And then we optimize those runs across the experiments to maximize the Manhattan distance by changing the prompts. That's like should be the workflow, but the one run per experiment may be a bottleneck for us right now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'll look more into the weights and biases one. I mean, I've already kind of set up the Microsoft one a little bit, and I'm trying to get it to run. So I guess I can try both and see how they work out.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I think it's pretty interesting, like a way to train, actually.
Exactly.
But Florian, what will you change in this optimization beside the prompt?
I mean, for now, it's mostly the prompts because I don't really see what else we can really optimize other than others like minute hyperparameters like batch size we send into and so on like this. I think
Don't think, yeah, those have literally no impact. You pass
Number
one
of
question of
number of responses.
yeah, maybe a number of alternatives and
Number of alternatives.
yeah, I think for the most part, it's for us it's best for prompt tuning.
because it's such a long process, right? It's not like we get a response and we can compare that response with some other response from like LLM versus human. Then there is estimation and we get some numbers, and then again we have some numbers. It's like a three-layer. I'm not really sure if changing this way will ever get us any closer by just changing the prompt, because then it doesn't know what's happening in those two layers.
Right, but actually, I mean, the way they do it in Microsoft Trace is they actually create a DAG of your workflow, and for each like node that you optimize over in the DAG, it creates like a subgraph that points to the output variable you want to optimize, and then from there it can like it sort of emulates backpropagation in a way to find the the gradient of the loss function over whichever weight you're looking at, which in our case is a node, one of the prompts, or whatever we mark as a feature, and it can find like the change in that, and then they use an LLM to then suggest like an update step, basically. I don't know how the weights and biases one works, but this is what Trace does. Yeah, Microsoft Trace.
Weights and biases was just acquired by CoreWeave, which means the weights and biases tech is going to zero. It's probably a good time to move off of weights and biases if that's the case. Although it sounds like you're just using like that. It sounds like you're just using the data to kind of fine tune the system. So
Are we
maybe
overstressing? Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. Are we overstressing the like market simulator capability with all of these like assumptions and like yeah, I feel like we're doing so much from like a Y prompt and attributes and assuming based on those inputs like what the client wants. What if we just make it easy and be like, hey, if you want market simulator, right? Here are the next instructions that you need. Here's the input, here's that. Because I guarantee you, most users, when they run an experiment, right, they don't know that the last phase of the ideation process, attributes, influences the market simulator, right? Or how to tie the attributes to the market simulator. We're doing that automatically for them, but like, should we just, make it a lot simpler and be like, hey, if you want to forecast, right? Here's additional information. What do you want to do with the market simulator? Do you want to compare your products? Do you want to compare competitors? Do you want to, you know what I mean? Compare user journey, etc. And it's a new series of inputs based on still the context of the experiment or another experiment. I just feel like it's a lot. You guys are geniuses in turning a lot, very little into very complex. Just curious.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're saying right now the bottleneck to onboarding customers is not a question of the quality of our results or the accuracy of our system. The bottleneck is understanding the results, and so getting more accurate results
Yeah.
is not where we're blocked right now. Is that what you were
Well,
saying?
yes. Yeah. But the thing is too, like, I don't think users know of the true potential behind the market simulator, much less how to wield it. That's the problem, right? Like, again, everyone's super impressed. I run a demo and they're like, oh, and by the way, like, because we know what people do and not what they say, right? We can forecast the future. Wow, incredible. But then they're like, okay, well, how can I do that for my own sake? What if I want to compare again products in my portfolio versus competing products from my competitors? How do I do that? You can't do it right now by going straight to the market simulator. You have to run a whole nother experiment, go to the last phase of the ideation process, change the attributes, right? Make sure that they're set, and then run a whole nother experiment. That is so not intuitive, right? And so the solution is not to be over smart, over intelligent, to solve for a user what they're asking for, what they're not even asking for. The solution is maybe Market Simulator is a whole separate product, right? Frankly, all tabs should be their own dedicated product. And if you want to leverage Market Simulator, here's the UX so that you have control over that Market Simulator. You know what I mean? It's more of like a UX, flow kind of thing, really. It's not an intelligence thing. It's a UX flow type of thing so that the user feels in control in leveraging the market simulator, the superpower that it is, for what they need.
Yeah, no,
Just
I think
just a
everything you're
thought.
saying
Sorry.
everything you're saying is true. Florian, I think, was talking about optimizing the experiment execution, which is unrelated to the
Oh,
market
sorry.
simulator. But I think
Sorry,
what you're
guys.
saying is true. Yeah. Let's Pablo, in our design session that we have with what's his name, with Ada and this other person, let's design that out a little bit, because I think that
Yes, sir.
that can work pretty easily. I think we can get there pretty quickly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, that was Florian. Who's next? Atish.
Uh, yeah, just working on the validation endpoint for the international data. One thing I had was so every country kind of has like a different set of table headers. So I wasn't sure how pydantic validation would work other than like the number of records in the country. Is it possible, or do I just kind of check like after receiving the inputs, do they match what I have in my the same files that I give the front end?
So yeah, there is no parenting validation for column names, Atish, because we don't know until we know. So
Yeah.
if the names are different, let it be. We just will create like, okay, if this is the country, these are the column names we have for now.
Okay, but like, okay, so there's no pydantic validation. I just kind of
No,
try.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Just wanted to make sure that.
Yeah, I mean, it's close to impossible to have a same set of column names across every data set.
Right. Okay. Cool.
I mean, you could do the following. See for the US what we use in the backend as the final column names, and see if anything from that list can be used. I mean, of course, not every column will match, right? and then yeah, whatever doesn't match doesn't match. So things like age, gender, education will be standard, right?
Uh, so not quite actually. For example, age sometimes is
Hmm.
actually categorical because they group, like for some countries they do
Hmm.
like 25 to 31 as like a group instead of
Hmm.
uh discrete variables, I think. Um so
That is still fine, because when in the JSON you will give us, okay, if it's a categorical variable, these are the unique values it has, and that is
mhm.
it. Because once
Yeah,
it comes to backend, I will know based on the values whether it's continuous or
yeah.
categorical. So that is fine. So I was just saying, if like let's say age is a variable and we can make it as a age across different data sets, then we do it.
Okay, but in this case we wouldn't, right?
We would,
Because
right?
but because like pydantic validation would be like, is my input two numbers, a min and a max? But if it's categorical, then wouldn't my age be
Okay.
like,
Okay, I understood. We can make that thing flexible. It's not a big issue. So
okay,
whatever it
that,
comes out to be.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, creating a separate identity class for every country, I think that's a bit of overkill. So we will just make it
Uh,
flexible.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully by tomorrow I'll have time, and I can also start looking into this, and then I think this will speed up the process.
Okay, yeah. Um, that's all for me.
Thanks, Atish. So how many countries you got so far? You sent me 4, and
Uh,
anything after that?
in the database there should be 12, 10.
Okay,
I'm not.
okay.
There's like a lot more in my personal computer,
Hmm.
but then I ran out of space, so I'm kind of like balancing all of that. It's yeah, it's a whole thing, but yeah.
Okay, I mean 12 is not a bad start. So I guess if we in 4 5 days sort of even get all the 12 in, which that will be a big deal.
Yeah.
Hmm. Atish, who is next? Sim.
Hi everyone. Happy Wednesday. So I was working on the token probability task, and I mean it's pretty much done. I'm getting values, and I mean we still need to do a bit more testing. Uh, but like what I found for like at least the base example for statement score generation is that it's very sensitive and it seems to trend towards the edges rather than the middle, which I think is what we.
What is trend towards the edges versus the middle mean? What are you saying?
Oh right, it's usually
What's it?
when it's the LLM is okay. We get scores, probability scores that are closer to 0 or 100 rather than towards the middle. So it's very confident that it agrees or disagrees with the statement.
Fascinating.
But I mean, I remember Subodh telling me that we wanted kind of neutral values, but I'm not exactly 100% on why we want that. But
What's your temperature?
0.
Change your temperature.
Well, temperature is how you sample these tokens, right? So we're getting the probability directly.
Right, but if you have zero temperature, you're by definition zero temperature means 100 or 0.
Yeah, I could.
Right.
I mean, I'm not 100% on how. See, I mean, I thought temperature kind of like means how you sample. You get the probability, and then you sample from these tokens. But the probability is static. But I guess if you change the temperature, the API kind of, the chat completions API will give you like updated probabilities that are more neutral. So, like the effective probability than the actual probability. So I guess I could try that, and that might give us more neutral values. That's true. I could try that. Um, yeah, but I think like a better use. I mean, I should probably have not tried to have done this with something uh, like statement scores and as part of latent variables. I should have probably tried to do it for something um, like the survey questions, where because it's effectively giving us utility, right? So, uh, I mean, so I guess my point is like, this might not be the best use for it. So that's still like the verdict is yet to be out on where best to use this. So, but for now, I'm just gonna like I'm still one commit behind. So I'm gonna have to like merge those changes and then get this into latent variables branch and then into experimentation. And then like because it's kind of like a generic function, I'm hoping to like eventually try it out for like other things as well. But yeah, once I get the commit in, I'm gonna start working on my other task and then kind of do both of these things parallel.
No, finish one thing at a time. Once you have this done, is there any sort of measure of goodness? Like if you connect with Florian, for example, right? Like, is there a way to measure if what you're doing kind of makes the behavior more human, reduces the number of tasks needed? Like, what would the benefit to the user be once we have this?
I mean, the measure of goodness, I guess, is, I mean, this baseline studies are the only ones we have, right? So I guess we'll be looking at R squared and Manhattan distance and stuff like that.
Got it. Okay, so you're going to improve the Manhattan distance, you believe?
I mean, I'm not 100%. It's kind of because like, you know, we don't do this with human beings, right? We don't actually
Right.
get the probabilities straight from the brain. So maybe in the studies they don't do that either, right? So, I mean, if you're going to be optimizing for the studies which don't do that, are we like, will we be going away from those scores? So it's like we have to like try it out to see. I think.
Yeah, because like when we looked at the Manhattan distance, right? Like the best Manhattan distance we got was from a binary experiment, a discrete choice experiment, not like getting the probably, you know, not picking one of 5, but picking one of 2. And I wonder if I it's not entirely clear to me how knowing the distribution of responses gets us a better model. It probably does. It probably does improve the resolution somehow, but my brain isn't grokking it right now.
It will not help us with a human baseline, because even if we have probability, we convert that into a discrete option, right? Because that's how the paper estimates it. So even it doesn't matter the true probability. Whatever is biggest will still be the biggest even after sampling. So in human baseline, it's not going to do anything. Where it may make a difference is in the normal non-human baseline study, especially even not now. Once we start estimating model on the probabilities as a dependent variable and not as a discrete response variable, that's when only we can see if having access to true probability makes a big difference. At the moment, it basically gets muddled, because eventually it will be converted into yes and no, and yeah, highest probability is still the highest despite the sampling or non-sampling. So it will not do much for now.
Got it. Can I propose that for Florian and for Chin, can we kind of wrap up the quality improvement tickets like this sprint, and then next sprint or the next like probably like 2 or 3 sprints work on the interpretability and the last mile on the interface and the and all of the like the sizzle. I think our steak is delicious. I think we need the sizzle. If Subodh, if you and Mahdi are okay with that.
So I think Chin already has that ticket, which requires connecting the context, question, attributes, and basically coming up with a, let's say, some answer like how we should present the whole result. And then
Beautiful.
next step will be, once we know this is how we need to present, then to basically figure out to put the JSON and say, okay, based on this, can you extract and summarize it? So that task is already is with Jin.
Beautiful. And that's for the latent variables as well?
That's everything. So you
Beautiful.
once you estimate. So whatever it suggests that it should be part of result, concise one, it gets out. It gets. I mean, I would say you can maybe today, if you want to spend time on log probability, spend. Otherwise, for now, you can abandon it, because, like I said, it's gonna be at least a month before we'll have all those models in production, which directly works on probability. So you'll have it ready, but there's literally no way of knowing it right away.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's kind of why I said I would kind of work parallelly. But yeah, I get it. I think I'll just wrap it up today. I'll just have that generalized function so we can use it for the other stuff later. And I'll just get into experimentation and start working on the other.
Because, I mean, so here's one thing. I mean, I understand your sentiment, Chin. I mean, been you working on it, but if you had sat in meeting, right? I mean, Pablo and we probably sits more. I have only sat in one or two. The kind of people we meet, they really don't have any idea about these numbers. Like, literally not a number, anything about it. So even like if we get a simple probability and take an average, that is more than enough to them at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
And hence, I think at this point we have something which looks good. So it's more about how to make this thing look better rather than adding like real core changes.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like, I mean, Pablo has talked to me about this, a while ago as well. And I'm also fully in the camp of, we have everything, just better packaging, and also the answers straight and like no bullshit. Right. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy to work on that too. Like, shift gears to that.
Mm. Yeah, because I'm pretty much counting Ambuj gone. Let's just how I think it is. If he hasn't showed up for a week, so if you start.
Well, he said he was going to be out last week, but then he never said when he was coming back. He's like, I'm graduating. I don't know if he's like going on like a week-long bender in Vegas or whatever, but.
If not, I mean, so either way, from Monday onwards, we will have to basically try to get the whole report into something meaningful so that LLM can read and summarize it. So
yeah.
So basically we'll do all these things.
Oh, you mean for the chat? Is that what you mean?
Chat and even this summarizing the result, which connects everything, right? Context, attributes, blah, 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 everything.
Yeah.
So once we know, okay, this is what we need to show, then we need to somehow pass all the information and basically, play around to see if it's able to summarize everything.
I also want to say, in the same vein of like that, kind of like the sizzle, like Avi said, I think we should, I mean, it might be obviously a bit more long-term task, but I've talked to you, Subodh, about this, but maybe we should look at like getting just information from VoidConf, and then we should have it presented with like the same React or whatever, like the rest of the website is built, right? So I feel like right now that because we are like rendering these things in like our Shiny, I feel like that it's getting like kind of complicated, and like I think there's an upper limit on how good it can look, and like it's not like React is like backing these tools to show these graphs and stuff. So I mean, like maybe a long-term task would be like kind of connecting to VoidConf, but not having VoidConf kind of render some of these things, right? And just getting information to like a unified front end and then showing everything.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're down to 2 people in the front end.
Right.
So it's not really gonna happen now. We had this plan. I don't know. I don't think you were here. No. What were their name? I forgot their names, but they started building something, and then after that, so many other tasks came and that got left behind. But yeah, at some point after we do at least now some few changes, then it just has to be about polishing.
Yeah. So yeah, I can wrap this up and go to the other task.
No, that's it. Okay, who's next? Avi.
I am having more meetings. I'm having about 3 VC meetings per day, and then a bunch of other like people that are like interested in contributing in all kinds of different ways. So that's keeping me busy. I did the May investor outreach yesterday. Got some responses today. We are going to allocate a small amount in our next round to the existing round folks. Pretty much like we're only going to give them enough to like maintain their ownership if they choose to. So I need to do that outreach. I need to make that offer today. And yeah, and that's really it. That's really just closing these guys. I have to work on the financial model and update the financial model specifically for like phase 2, which is doing the roll-up strategy. And then I have 2 meetings with market research firms that want to use us. It seems like a lot of our customers are coming from existing market research groups and marketing agencies, like these small agencies that don't have enough money to do quantitative research. And so like they're doing the qual, they have all these services, they have all these trusted clients. And so going to the agencies seems to be working. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and then sorry, go ahead.
I was just asking, so we haven't gotten any investment from any of the VCs yet?
We have about $1 million committed. That's from folks like Silicon Valley Bank and then a couple of kind of larger investors. We are asking for $3 million. Like typically the way this works is like it takes a long time to get the first one, and then everyone kind of piles in at the end. So I think once you kind of break the seal, then it happens pretty quickly. Some of the feedback that I'm getting from investors though is, they're saying, oh, like I've seen a few of these now, right? There's a Y Combinator company, Societies.io, that does, a kind of a toy version of what we're doing, but they have a really snazzy UI, and they have a really sharp ICP, and they have these nice I'm going to show you some of their. They make it really clear why they're better than the language models, and we have this data. We just don't really present it. So explaining why we're different and how we're different is important, and then it's also it's really now a race to revenue. Because since there are folks that are doing versions of this, then the question is who can get more revenue and why. That's that becomes the proof point. It's not can you do it, it's can you sell it. But I think our new website will help. I think having the kind of what should I say? The populations defined and having that really clear ICP will help. I'm on their website now. But the people that get it like it. But it makes me a little bit concerned that there's starting to be competitors. So it really is a foot race.
I mean, even before us, there's already 2 or 3 way matured companies, right? There's one called EPOS, EPOO, something.
Aru?
No, no, no. Aru is nowhere to be seen. I'm not. Yeah, Ipo. I'm putting this. They, I think, started way back in 14, 15. So they have a lot of this experimentation stuff into their platform. And then there is also, I think, stats. Thing. They also said they have a lot. I mean, these guys are already like in 100 million. This one, stats. But if you look at their team, they have like dedicated at least 50, 20 people with proper PhD in experimentation and everything. So, and they have been for at least 10 years, longer than us.
This is like product feature testing almost.
No, it's like, yeah, A/B testing, at least in EPO, I know, and they also have a very high, really high level analytics that they do. Statsig, I don't know much idea, but at least I know like one or two people working there. I mean, their advisors is like double Nobel laureate, so that team is also like must be crazy good.
So our differentiator, the place where we are different than these guys, seems to be. I like their website. I really like their website. The way we are differentiated from these guys is our respondents, our synthetic respondents. Right. It seems to me that EPO and StatSig are experimentation layers on humans.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like our differentiator is that our synthetic humans are the most human.
Right, but eventually I think we also then need to get this thing. So if we can also have another layer where the whole survey gets translated and the client can just take a link and go and pass to certain human and get the data in. So if we can also make that seamless, it will help us. I mean, of course, that's going to require a lot of effort, time and effort.
Yeah, that's you were talking about that to send our experiment, our designed experiment to actual humans for respondents. Yeah, I think we have a ticket for the next sprint to design the request for the experiment into the application, but we did not. But the automation of that is not there yet.
I would say, I mean, I haven't looked at more inside their product per se. I only know the people I have seen on LinkedIn, so I know that they are great people. Maybe we'll look into their product, see how they are doing it. Maybe it gives us some idea on the last mile.
EPO, yeah.
EPO and even the stats thing.
I love that. Yeah, I am irritated that I haven't seen these guys before. I'm gonna put these in the products channel.
They are not to make much noise, but these are like real, genuine people working at the edge of analytics when it comes to experimentation.
I love that. I love that. Can we use them, or can we partner with them? Can we work with them in some way?
I don't know. we'll have to talk. I mean, you also take a look at their product. There's also a get a demo. We see how what's exactly inside the product, and then see if
I'd love to see who their client list is. Maybe they post, maybe they post, like they have client reviews of like Steve from
I mean,
Coca-Cola, and then we
yeah,
call Steve.
in the stats thing, at least I see like OpenAI, Microsoft, Bloomberg,
Yeah,
Rippling. So those are all big. I know
I'm gonna.
even
article.
Flipkart and all from India use that their product. Even Hippo is pretty big. Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at Coinbase, Miro, a lot of it, Perplexity, Twitch.
Hmm.
I read from someone who works at OpenAI. He was raving a lot about Statsig. That's how I came to know that they were using Statsig to do a lot of experimentation in terms of how their UI and all that thing.
How about we book a live demo for the team and we all participate? Do
Yeah.
some market intelligence. Yeah, I love that. I'm signing up now.
Because at least based on what I read, these two are like actual genuine companies, like who are really doing good work.
Well, I want to know how their efficacy, I want to know how they got there, right? And I want to know who's doing business with them. So, one of the things I
Yeah,
can do, I
yeah,
cross-reference, sorry,
yeah.
go on.
No, I was saying just click on the link which I pasted in the chat,
Yeah,
their company, and then they have the list of pretty much all the companies they work with.
um, yeah, and then I will look and see if there are any individuals in those companies where they're quoted talking to about. So if you put a search between the company and between those two companies, the vendor, you sometimes come up with the individual. So the chief marketing officer at, who at OpenAI is their contact? Who at all those, and that's who the people I want to speak to, because they're already in that universe then. And maybe we can steer them towards us since they already have the mentality. They're already, like you said, like they'd get us a lot quicker. That would be my guess, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely. Good find.
I mean, this is product metrics. This reminds me of Amplify. Amplify? Is that the one?
Yeah, the educational.
No, not Amplitude. Excuse me.
Oh, there's an amplifier K-12 product.
This is kind of like what Amplify is trying to do. It's another version of this. Amplitude, excuse me.
Sorry.
I mean, there's a universe, like if our claim is true, right, that we can build synthetic agents that behave like humans, we may be able to build synthetic web agents that can navigate a web product just like humans and generate this content. Like, this is developing agents that can evaluate experiences is on our roadmap, right? We were going to do text and then images and then experiences. And as far as I can tell, we're the only folks that are benchmarking our agents against actual humans. Like this concept of bioequivalence, right? Inverting the null hypothesis. I do not see other people do it. I mean, I see people do it in pharmaceuticals to test the efficacy of generic drugs, but I don't see anyone doing it in behavioral science. Maybe we reach out to these guys.
That just reminds me of a question. Can we get the heads of these behavioral science departments at the universities where we currently sit, can we get them to basically say what we're doing for them?
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
testimonials, just, Dr. So-and-so at UPenn says, uses it for this. So I can send those to the Procter and Gamble's, the large people I'm pursuing, because
Yeah.
I'm dealing with. So it looks like, so in my research, it looks like a lot of these individuals I'm reaching out to came from academia in behavior science insights as I go in deeper. And that's where Sabota comes, Sabode, right? Sabode. That's where Sabode comes in, is because science people like to talk to science people. They don't want to talk to a salesperson. So I'm trying to go in through that angle. And so I'm getting more response of like, can you spend time with our data science? And I'm actually getting more responses. So if we can work that angle. And I also think of all of this as like the jewelry district in New York, right? You walk down 47th Street, there are 100 jewelry dealers. They're all selling jewelry and they're all thriving. And so I love the competition out there because it is creating marketing and awareness for all of us. That's my little speech.
No, it's nice. Remember a year ago, people thought this was impossible, and now people are saying that we have competitors, and it's unclear who will be the winner. So, being early is the same thing as being wrong. Now is the time for us to be right.
Right. So yeah, so as a side thing, so yeah, getting me the names, getting me some testimonials from the universities would be awesome. I'd be able to market those.
So Sarah lands in like 2 hours. She can get that for you.
And the more people that publish, the more superstars we can get from the universities, the better. No postdocs. Just want purebred PhDs.
I think we forgot Madi. You still here, Madi?
Yes, I'm here. So, yeah. So I've been working with Sabot. He will explain further. So I've been working with Sabot on the concept testing, and it's very able to finalize it. And so that's it.
Yeah, this has been a nightmare. It's literally a maze of code to go through. But I think we are there.
When we say concept testing, is that like product design? Is that message testing? Is that is that like ad copy? What?
So concept testing is more like a single product testing in one go. So we want to see, okay, if I have this kind of description and this kind of packaging, what will be my response versus if I have this or like version 2. So that's the one.
Got it. So it's almost like personalization.
Yeah, this is not product building. That's a totally different one. That will require so much UI stuff. That's going to take a month if we have to ever get there.
No, it's okay. I mean, we'll go with what we have. I mean, if it's instant personalization, you say describe your persona, describe your product, and then you say this is the message that resonates with this person, and this is why. Something as straightforward as that.
No, this is just simple testing. So we are not even saying this message resonates with this or that, but it's more like, okay, for example, let's say it's a new protein shake on the go, right? And let's say a company has 3 packaging options they want to test, right? And then each of them of course, will describe the same content in terms of what it constitutes and advantage and disadvantage, but depending upon the packaging, it may look different and the messaging could be different. So basically, then the idea is to, out of these three, what's the best one?
Won't that depend on the persona of the respondent?
It will be so, but they will still choose, let's say, a same profile, right? And then run that three of them one by one and see which one gives them a bigger market share. And that is it.
And so if we have, let's say, hypothetically speaking, a list of 1,000 VCs, and we say, hey, this is my pitch deck, this is my intro email, run this intro email across these 1,000 VCs and see when I have strong response, medium response, low response?
Yeah, we could do that.
I'm just trying to think of like how to operationalize. I see. So this is like the dumbed down version of our capabilities, using the same respondents.
So, and this is also in a way like a one step closer to society.io. So it was like, okay, if I type this message, how many is going to respond or engage? So at least what now we could do is that, okay, if this is the statement, and then let's see who's going to respond on a scale of 1 to 5, high engagement, low engagement. And then basically we can have one more layer saying, okay, now let's change this thing, 2-3 versions, and try the same thing. And then we have what society.io has.
And it took us 2 weeks. Right.
It's just that we don't have a really flashy UI.
I know.
Only if we had those fancy UI, a lot of these things will look way cooler.
Well, let's work on the fancy UI. The meeting that we have, I think, starting in like 5 minutes. The meeting we have at 12:15 with Simon is for that purposes. It is to build the flashy UI. Now he's gonna build the flashy chat agent. We still, I guess, need the fancy UI. We can do fancy UI. We shouldn't say fancy, we should say simple, I guess. It's hard to make something simple.
All right, then I think we are done. Am I needed in that meeting, Avi? The next one?
It's up to you.
I was actually hoping to finish that one. Concept testing.
Yeah, that's fine. We can handle it.
Yeah. Thanks then. Then I think we are good.
All right, guys. Nice work today. In the channels, work in pairs. Work in pairs. Everyone logs off.